Hi guys, it's Friday, and we're going to end the week with an artist that I first saw at the Mariposa Folk Festival. Now, I know I talked about this when we did the Folk Festival episodes, but back at the late 70s, I happened to be in Toronto on work, had a weekend free, and it was the weekend the Mariposa Folk Festival was on. Now, at that time, the Folk Festival was held on Toronto Island, which is just a ferry ride across from downtown Toronto. When I got there, two bands really stuck out for me. And I can't remember which one I saw first. It was either Stan Rogers, who I mentioned during the Folk Festival episode, or a fellow named Gove Scrivenor, who really caught my attention. Solo act, slide guitar, regular guitar work. He was just a master on the guitar, as well as his style of singing, a lot of folk, a lot of blues in there. I went out trying to find his albums. Kind of a little tough because, I'm up here, Canada. He's playing down in the deep south. And we really didn't get a lot of albums up. Back, it wasn't like it is today where I can go online and pull this stuff out. But back then I had to wait. I think I actually had to order this one in to actually get it. It might be an album or a label called Flying Fish, if anybody remembers that one. The album I'm talking about, I don't know if you can see that, Shady Gove. Now, he released two albums around the same time. It was the late 70s. I was on one of the streaming networks. They carry a couple of his albums, and one of them is actually a combination of this one and his second album. So there's not a lot of recorded material available for you, but certainly the two that are out there, it's like a 3-record bin because the first album, the first offering has 2 albums in it. Second one's a more recent one. But this was the only hard copy I was able to find. And again, it was really tough to find this. And when you figure the music he's playing, it really didn't lend itself to AM radio. And back in the late 70s, FM was just kind of getting its feet wet and getting around. But even this didn't really fit in with the FM style, unless, like we've had one station here, Sunday they would have all jazz and all blues and that kind of thing. So, you get a little bit on here. Some of the college radio stations would play this kind of music. But for general public, they were not really getting it, so they weren't really aware of what we were listening to. This album, he's got some other interesting people on. I'll just get to the tunes in a minute, but I just want to show you who we've got on here. He's got some guests. This one here, you may recognize Doc Watson, very famous guitar player down in the Nashville area. And this fellow right here, I don't know if anybody recognizes him, John Hartford. Wrote the tune Gentle on My Mind, big hit for Glenn Campbell. He appeared on Glenn Campbell's show. He appeared on the Smothers Brothers show. He was really getting a lot of exposure in that late 60s, early 70s. But his big push was Gentle on My Mind. And I'm not mistaken, I think he actually still played on, I'm going to say, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, the soundtrack to the album. So he's got a couple of special guests on the album here, but Goes also toured with or played along with like Delbert McClinton, who we talked about quite a few episodes ago, who was in that same category of really hard to pigeonhole his type of music and where you get airplay. If you didn't know about Delbert, you weren't going to know about Delbert. Again, my only exposure, my first introduction to Delbert was Boxcar Blues, Blues Brothers album off Briefcase Full of Blues. If I hadn't heard that, I probably never would have known about him. Emmylou Harris, Two More Bottles of Wine, another Delbert McClinton tune. So some of the main artists had recorded him. Gove also played with Emmylou Harris. So he's well known among the musicianal community, but not as well known out in the public. Give you some idea what he's playing on here. We've got Good Time Lady, one of his tunes. Sugar Babe, Pigeon River Breakdown, another one of his tunes. Cocaine Blues, a traditional song. If Your Man Gets Busted, another traditional folk tune. Walking My Blues Away with Sonny Terry and Brownie McGee, who we mentioned, I think, quite a while ago on a feature with them, a great blues act. Make My Love Come Rolling Down, Eric Schmidt, Yvonne Schmidt. Minuet for the Backroads, another Gove Scrivener tune. Black Cat Bone, traditional. Going to the Country was Gove Scrivener, and the last one, Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring by Bach. Talk about covering from blues to folk to classical. Just a very interesting album. And again, not easy to find. The album on the streaming networks is not called Shady Gove. Oh, there we are, Gove Scrivener. Shady Gove. I forget what it was actually called now, but again, when I'm on one of the main streaming networks, when you put his name in, there are two choices, and the one album is the double album set. Also, YouTube, a great place to actually see him perform. And I think at one time, and this was just a few years ago, he wasn't doing a lot of concerts, but he was going around and you could hire him to come to your house and do a living room concert for you. Now, I don't know if he's still doing that or not, and obviously it would be within the area where he lives, or the cost of getting there would be expensive. But can you imagine how much fun that would be, bringing somebody in, doing a concert in your house, just for you, your friends, your family? It was kind of a fun thing he was doing. I guess it kept him playing. Anyways, that's somebody to check out. Probably brand new for a lot of you. Again, when I saw him at the folk festival, he was one of the two people I saw all day that really resonated with me and made me want to go out and find more of their music and find out more about them. I really can't say a lot about him other than it's worth your while to check him out. It's very interesting. He's got a very distinctive style. It's real happy music. He's a very talented guitarist and lots of energy. So, for the weekend, why not treat yourself to a little bit of fun, a little bit of Gove Scrivener. That's it for today. Another week down. Boy, we're crowded in December. Everybody have a great weekend. Get ready for Thanksgiving in the U.S. And we'll see you on Monday. Until then, everybody take care. Thanks for stopping by.